What's poppin', y'all? I'm absolutely adoring this topic because it's an opportunity where we get to take a look at somebody in real time, and this is something that we've all done in the past, and we have to be aware of ourselves and catch ourselves when we do it. I always try to catch myself when I'm doing something like this, but it's justifying what we believe based on data, and that's what Joe Budden did with Tyla. So Tyla, she's a girl that had the song Water. She was also on Kai Cenat's stream. I think she was the one that was like, oh, we could be friends, though. That was kind of like a viral little meme for a while, but her album sold like 30,000 first week, something like that. And well, this is the thing. Yeah, was it an album? I think so, but either way, a project. So I'm gonna play you guys the clip for Joe Budden and why he thinks it sold so poorly.
Tyla flop, right? And why we think that may be. If I do it, I'm gonna look like a hater. The same with our love bombing topic. So help.
She put out EP, right?
Tyla put out an EP. I wasn't gonna say nothing about it, but Tyla put out an EP and it sold 4,000 copies. Somebody brought to my attention. They think a song on there is a diss record to me, Mr. Media.
Oh,
shit. I bought that EP and came in here and bigged it up.
You did.
Let me see if I can play Mr. Media real quick.
I didn't see anything about it really. Like
no promo, nothing.
I did see it in my
I saw that it dropped.
Yeah,
but that was it. Outside of you playing a record,
it's a strange choice to drop a EP.
And you had a smash.
I know, but maybe now somebody could tell the truth about Tyla. Shut up, man. I don't even. Maybe now somebody could tell the truth.
And what would the truth be?
Read the room. The truth would be read the room. And that whole, I'm from South Africa and we use colored over there had long-lasting ramifications.
Yes, it does.
Back to being in the people business. Back to my point about Ari and being in the people business. Cool that that's what happens over there. But as a young artist in America, you should read the room. For the people that aren't in music, why this is a thing is you don't go from having a smash like Water to selling 4,000 of an EP.
That's odd.
That's odd.
Very odd.
That's odd.
That's odd. It's not supposed to happen like that.
It's saying something.
If you're wondering why this is a topic.
So reading the room would be catering to a certain demographic?
Yes.
Is that reading the room? Because what if people want to just stand on their own? I stand on my own beliefs. I stand on who I am. I stand on what I believe in, and I want the world to accept me for that.
Be willing to take what comes with it.
Yeah, then take what comes with it.
Okay. Yeah.
Then you take what comes with it.
Yeah. There's people that take that stance and end up
4,000 copies.
succeeding as well.
4,000 copies, and I don't think that's...
First of all, this Tyla project that they're calling an album, it's an EP. And we're not talking a 7-track EP, 8-track EP, like something that Yeet just dropped. No, this is a 4-track EP. 4 songs. It's got WizKid on it as well. One thing that I'm going to get out the way first is what really frustrates me is Americans' colonial mindset. And like people think colonialism and they think white people, it's also like an American thing. So Joe Budden is like, hey, this is how we look at this thing over here. And he's not, now he is being fair and saying that, hey, whatever you've got going on over there, you keep it over there. If you want to appeal to us over here in the US, you've got to keep that over there. And I understand that. But there are a lot of people that tell Tyla like, no, you're not allowed to look at yourself like that because that's wrong. And it's like, dog, that's just how they operate there. Now, South Africa is something different. So it's the whole controversy was around Tyla saying that she was colored because there's like, I think there's 3 different categories or something like that in South Africa. There's the whites, there's the coloreds, and there's the another group. I believe like the other main ethnic group is Black African. And then people say like, well, aren't you just mixed? And then they're like, no, we're not mixed, we're colored. And then it's a whole thing. Frankly, I don't understand it. But they've got their own, the way they operate there is completely different. I haven't gone yet. That's why I'm not speaking on it too much, but it is on the list. I don't know when because that side of the world is just so far away from anything else. It's not like, you hop to, I don't know, Amsterdam and you can go to any other country, or you hop to Argentina and you can go to Brazil or Chile or something. Like once you go down there, there's nothing around you. But this is completely wrong because number one, most people don't even know that happened. That's first. And number two, most people don't care. And let's break this down because he says, oh, that's the only way. Like if you've had a major hit like Water, there's no way you come back and do this many sales unless it's an event like this. Well, let's take a look. Davido, right? one of the biggest Afrobeat acts really ever. This guy's album sold 7K. Yes, that's right. It sold 7K in the US. His album 5. So did Davido say something? Or was it Burna Boy? Or are they going to say like, nah, they sold that little because they were talking about like Africans work harder or something like that? I don't know if that was, I know it was Burna Boy that said something that Black Americans felt displeased with. However, Burna Boy is not, I don't know if Davido said something like that as well. But regardless, Davido sold that much. I'm pretty sure Burna Boy, he sold like 4K, right? In the US. He definitely sold under 10K. And then some people will say, well, those guys didn't have a hit, right? Tyla's coming off of a hit like Water. And then I will say, okay, so those two examples weren't good enough for you, even though they're two of the biggest Afrobeat artists, or just artists in general, globally, right now. Let me run you one more. How about Rema? Let's take a look at Rema, right? He had Calm Down. Calm Down was arguably bigger than all three of these artists last. Now, Last was a huge song by Burna Boy, but I'm willing to say Calm Down was bigger than Water, and it was bigger than Last. I mean, Calm Down was a hit for 2+ years. I remember before the Selena Gomez remix even came out, I was hearing that song abroad, though. It wasn't in the US. That song was playing everywhere. And it's one of those songs where you're like, yo, what is that song? If you're any venue that you were at, you're like, what is that song? And then you're like, oh, that's Calm Down. You're like, the hell is Calm Down? Rema, guess how much he sold? His project, what was it? Heist? That thing did not even debut on the top 200. That released in 2024, which is following up with his slam major hit, Calm Down. And Calm Down in the US, it peaked. Well, what did it peak at? I don't even know. Did it chart? I know it went platinum at least in the US. I don't know if they certified it, but regardless, that song was a global hit. He didn't even chart, which means he sold under like 4K, under 5K. Rema never said anything controversial. You can't cite him talking about like colored people. Besides, he's Nigerian. He's not South African. So what's the excuse there? Because they said nobody ever comes from a hit like this and then drops these low sales numbers. The truth is, Americans are so difficult to market an international artist to that in all likelihood, her marketing budget just went to other markets. And they just said, you know what? Let's focus on South Africa. Let's focus on the UK. Let's focus on other European countries, maybe the Netherlands or elsewhere. Let's focus on those markets because America's not really worth it to put, because it's going to cost a lot. It costs a lot to market to America. Like, for example, the Burna Boy album in Portugal, that thing was everywhere. They had billboards of it up. You didn't even know a Burna Boy album was really dropping unless you're tapped in the US. So a lot of the time, it's just the marketing budget is not allocated to the US audience. And a lot of Americans, they just look at it like, what do you mean you're not marketing to us? And that's just all there is to it. Like, I think it was Parks that replied to Joe, and he's like, yo, I didn't even really hear about this album or EP. It's an EP dropping. And yeah, of course you didn't hear about it. Really, the only artists, I think it's just UK acts. Like, for example, or let's just say English speaking, right? Because I could say like artists like Rosalia who are really popular. If you are not English, as in the country England, like UK, or maybe even Australian, very rarely though, I would say Lorde is like the only one that I can think of off the top of my head. Those are the only ones that are crossing over to the US like that, even when it comes to singing. So Ed Sheeran, yeah, they're marketing him in the US, but Ed Sheeran is also one of the biggest and best-selling touring acts of the history of all time. Like, dude's got songs in villages that people have heard. Like, people don't even got any type of audio listening device, and you play them Shape of You, and they're like, yo, I know that. It's like, how do you even learn the melody? I don't know. It just came to me in my dreams. I think a truck was driving down the interstate that we have, that down the one road, and we just heard it playing out of there. Yeah, we recognize that. So this is just faulty by Joe Budden, and just, I think Joe Budden was upset by that comment, which, yeah, you have a right to be upset, but to try to correlate that comment to her lack of sales, nah, that is, well, we just completely debunked it with 3 separate examples. But he goes on and even cites this chick in this next clip.
Tyla's young.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She makes good music.
She does.
She does make good music. And I think that reading the room incorrectly can be fixed and addressed. Mm-hmm. So there's a future for Tyla in America as an Afrobeats act or whatever she's trying to do. For Tyla's team, good for y'all. Tyla, she'll be fine. But Tyla's team, the people that be behind her in the interviews, feeding her the stupid to say in America, yeah, no, you totally dropped the ball. I totally dropped the ball. Let me see something here.
I don't know if they knew that was what was going to happen though when she had that.
That's called dropping the ball.
You got
That's called dropping the ball.
You have to do the research to know, man. You know that.
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
You don't believe so?
Completely flopping with Tyla's EP completely flopping with only hitting like 4,000 sales I think this week should be the biggest lesson that you can ever learn if you are someone who is trying to grow a brand or a business in any capacity.
I agree.
Okay, she is a great example of what happened when you intentionally build up an audience because you think it's profitable, right? Like she has a huge or had a huge Black American audience within the genres that she creates music. I mean, she had one of, like, Water was like one of the biggest songs, I think, what was that, last year?
Maybe 2 years ago.
Now she's dropping her EP and it completely flopping after she made comments and doubled down on
That was a mistake.
what the Black American community felt as disrespect.
But when we said that then, nobody said nothing.
The worst thing that you can do as a brand is to alienate your audience. Is to switch up after you have already profited.
So this chick he's playing, I think it's from like a TikTok or a Instagram reel video or something. Dog, Tyla did not have a huge fan base in America. Tyla had people that were consuming a hit song of hers. Are you going to tell me that Corvette guy who had his career completely ruined because he quote unquote snitched at 13? Meanwhile, we got grown snitches that's getting lit right now. He just quote unquote, he got exposed too early. That was all there was to it. He could have had a song with Gunna now. Pop Hunter, that's who we're talking about. You're telling me that guy had fans? You're telling me Stay Solid Rocky had a fan base? No, they had a hit. They had a hit song and people were fans of the hit song. Tyla did not have a fan base. You asked any of these people that this chick is claiming were fans of Tyla and they just switched up on her and stopped consuming because she said these comments that they didn't like. Oh, you asked them to name 5 Tyla songs, gun to the head, they would have disappeared. They would have disappeared like Bruce dropped them off the internet. That's it. They would have got dropped off. So there's no way that's why I really dislike the way people use the word fan or like she had a fan base. She did not have a fan base. She had people that consumed her single and enjoyed her song. That's different. They weren't listening to other Tyla music. They weren't going to Tyla shows. They weren't doing anything with Tyla. There's a reason why they're not focused on here anymore. And like maybe if Tyla got another hit, yeah. And keep in mind, they're also not pushing for Tyla to do collaborations with American artists either. If they wanted to get in here, they would do that. But who did they have her collaborate with for this EP? WizKid. That's the only feature. Even in 2024, when she dropped her project, her 2024 project Tyla, who's on that? Who from America is on that? You got Thames, you got Skillabang, you got Becky G, you've even got there, and you've got a Travis Scott on the Water remix. How the hell what the hell? I didn't even know that was a thing. So you didn't really have, is Skillabang? No, Skillabang's from Jamaica, right? So do you see how they're not even really worried about this audience? Now, there are songs that she appeared on, like she appeared on a Gunna track, which I do think that was an interesting feature because Gunna has worked with some artists, for more artists than I thought he'd work with, that are Nigerian, but for like guest features. So she was featured on that in 2023. She was featured on some Major Lazer song as well. So really, she doesn't work with that many people and not many American artists. Like she was on the Summer Walker song, I think, but I don't know if that was just a remix. So that's really it. And then vocals, I think, for the Jack Boys 2 song with Vibes Cartel, who's a Jamaican artist. So they're not tripping off of getting her into the American audience. And I think they even got the New Zealand audience. Outside of America is very big and they're a lot easier to appeal to if you are a non-American artist that blew up. That's just all there is to it. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. Now, also the simple solution is, they just stopped messing with her. Come on, dog. Like, people knew what Diddy was on and they didn't stop messing with him. If the music's good, dog. Ye was talking about slavery sound like a choice. What do you mean? What do you mean they stopped listening to Tyla? And that man went on to have a #1 right after that with like Carnival. And that wasn't right after that. That was years after that. But he went on to have another #1 album. So the idea that someone can say something and people can stop messing with them, the only time I think I've seen that happen was with Daniel Caesar. And he did that for Yes Jules. Like, I think that should be the lesson, not Tyla. Like, Daniel Caesar and Yes Jules. Now, he was on Peaches after that, but I still look back at that time and I'm like, Daniel Caesar, what were you doing? Like, Yes Jules is not the hill you die on. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.